Hello everyone, Nancy here with a Joyful Cottage. After days and days of rain and chilly weather, it's finally beautiful here today, sunny and about 80 degrees. So I've been working on the little flower bed just off my patio, and I thought I'd show you what I've done. I'm trying to create a perennial bed here, and I've had my challenges because, first of all, the soil was very bad. It was hard clay. And I did get that amended, and it's really fertile now. I've got lots of earthworms, so I know that it's doing well. But one of the problems I have is that this little bed gets some morning sun and then all shade until about 1 or 2 in the afternoon in the summer where it gets really hot and really sunny. And any perennials that I've tried to put there either need sun or they need shade or part this or that. And so I've had some real challenges. It's been hard to get anything established. So I'm going to try some different things this year, and I thought that I would show you the progress that I've made and see where we go from here. So with that being said, let's go. The little garden area right next to my steps that lead down from the porch to the patio. And I'm going to plant some perennials here. I'm going to try to create a cottage garden. I've got some things that have come back from last year, and I'm going to add some more things to it. So that's what I'm going to be working on this afternoon. Well, I am primarily going to make a perennial bed here. I am going to add some annuals for immediate color in the garden. And so here I'm adding a hanging basket that I purchased last year from a thrift store. So over in that corner, I'm going to plant a sedum. I decided to plant the sedum in a pot in case I needed to move it around because I wasn't sure about the sunlight it would receive here. At one time I had quite a bit of a juga in this spot, but it's mostly gone except for this little bit. Here you can see the runner with a little baby. I don't want to disturb this, so I'm going to work around it. I found this ostrich plume astilbe at the garden center. I don't have a picture of it, but if you Google it, you'll find out it's really beautiful. To the right of the astilbe, I'm planting a hillside black beauty snake root, also known as cohash. This plant will bloom in late summer with white bottle brush type blooms. I think will be beautiful. Black cohash plants are actually herbaceous wildflowers, and they like partially shaded growing areas. Whenever I'm planting, I add compost to the hole and work it into the soil a bit, and then I plant my plant. And then after that, before I cover up the hole, I add more compost. The new foliage on snakeroot comes in green and then turns to this black purplish color. These are 4 o'clocks that I planted from seed last year. I didn't expect them to come back, but they did. They never really bloomed. I don't think they got enough sun, and I may have to move them someplace else. The sedum was kind of lost in the back, so I elevated it with a plant stand. I also felt that open area on the right needed something. There were some underground things going on in that area, plus the concrete kept me from digging and putting in any more plants in the ground. So I thought I should do something fun and interesting on top of the ground. So in the past, I've used old chairs as planters and ways of elevating plants to add interest to my flower beds. So I thought I would try something like that this time. I have this old chair that was one of several that I bought and never used, and they've been sitting in my shed. I used one of them in my kitchen for my desk chair, but I thought I would just play with this one since it was a bird in the hand, and here's what I did. I first removed the seat from the chair, which was very easy to do by just unscrewing 4 screws basically. Then using my utility knife, I just kept cutting fabric and pulling and cutting and pulling until I got the fabric off the seat. I had bought 4 of these chairs off Facebook Marketplace to use in my dining room, but after I got them home, I realized that a couple of them needed some repair work that I didn't notice before I bought them, and so I just basically got different chairs, and I was going to try to take these to Goodwill to see if they wanted them to take as a donation, but they weren't interested at all. Neither of the thrift stores were, so I just decided to hang on to them and figure I'd use them somehow. I don't have any place in my house, so this is an next best option. So if you're wondering why I'm using such good chairs, they aren't as good as they look, and I just felt like they could be used this way. So here's my deconstructed chair, and now I'm going to do some painting. I'm using some leftover paint I have. It's Benjamin Moore in the color Wyeth Blue. It's by far my favorite blue. I've used it on several projects inside my home, and I just find it very pleasing. I never tire of this color. It's just, to me, the perfect greenish blue color. It's just lovely, and I'm going to use it on this chair. I'm not being careful with the way I paint this chair. I want it to look aged and old, so I'm just getting the paint on there. I'm doing it quickly, and I'm not looking for full coverage. I'm just looking for enough to make it look like it's been painted and aged, weathered. It's not exterior paint, it's interior paint, so it is probably going to weather, and that's just fine with me. The more weathering it has, the more aged it looks, the more character it will have. I'm not painting the seat, I'm leaving it natural. And there's a piece of burlap in the middle that I just think adds charm to the chair. I have kind of a French country theme going here. I had a pot that I had for a while. I picked up at a thrift store. It's a French country pot, and I'm filling it with lobelia and putting it on the chair. I don't really like the red plant stand now that I've put the chair where it is, and I just feel it's kind of garish and doesn't really go, and it's probably too tall. So I'm going to change it out with a white little plant stand I picked up some time ago at a thrift store, and it's kind of a distressed little piece. I think it'll look just really fine here. I'm adding a wire basket with 2 terracotta pots of annuals. One is Dusty Miller and Impatient, and the other one is a begonia. I'm also adding a little boot planter that I've had for a while, and I'm filling that with Impatience. I planted Impatience in the hanging basket as well. I find Impatience just do really well on my patio because I have so much shade. I don't have to maintain them much. They pretty much take care of themselves. I don't have to deadhead them. They're just low maintenance, and they're beautiful flowers, and they bloom profusely all summer long. The variegated ground cover you see on the left is spotted dead nettle. It gets a pretty magenta flower that blooms in summer and into the fall. It does best in shady areas. I finished this about 10 days ago, and since then we've been getting quite a bit of rain almost every night. In fact, we had some rain with a little bit of hail mixed in on Thursday night. I took this video just now, and you can just see the difference in the flowers and how things have matured just in 10 days from all the rain that we've received. I did do some tweaking. I changed out the sedum for red impatiens. I just think they adds so much more color to the garden, and also moving the sedum over to a sunnier spot should help it do better. And then I also added the hummingbird feeder because I want to try to encourage hummingbirds into my garden this year. I hope it works. I haven't seen hummingbirds here, but I understand they will come, especially in July. There's a migration that comes through, so I hope that this little feeder will help. And also some of the flowers that I've planted may attract them. Well, I hope you got some inspiration from my little cottage garden. Today, as I was working out in the garden and planting and putting things together, I couldn't help but think about the Lord and how He planted the very first garden in Eden. And that made me want to share a verse with you. This is from Genesis 2, verse 8. And the Lord God planted a garden in Eden in the east, and there He put the man whom He had formed. And out of the ground the Lord God made to spring up every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life was in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. I always feel especially near to the Lord when I'm working, planting, and working in the garden. I don't know about you, but there's something about being outside in nature, hearing the birds, feeling the sunshine on these warm days, and just knowing that God is there and in control, and He has His hand on us and on this earth. Nothing is beyond His knowledge. Nothing is beyond His capability to take care of. So I hope that is an encouragement to you today. It certainly is to me. And as you're outside walking or listening to the birds, I hope that you'll think about the Lord and how it's His work that we appreciate. So I'll see you again soon. God bless you.